According to Janet Yellen, we are approximately 18 days away from the government potentially defaulting on all of its debts, leading to the collapse of the US government as we know it today. And I'm not exaggerating. This situation is actually extremely drastic, and we need to get to the bottom of this. Newski, a lot of people are underestimating this because we could lose government programs such as Social Security and all the government programs we love, know and love, the things that keep our country afloat, the things that keep our parents funded, our grandparents funded, and just people that are going through financial struggles. A lot of these government programs we rely on, they're in jeopardy right now. So let's get to the bottom of this, bro, and break it down for everybody.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now, and we have some articles that we want to share with you guys. So let's just dive right in, right? If you guys haven't been keeping up, obviously, Rel just said there's a lot going on with the debt ceiling that Janet Yellen is talking about, right? So before we explain everything to you guys, one thing that you have to understand is there's articles like this that you will see all over social media right now, all over every article you click on, really, on Twitter, everything related to debt ceiling says Janet Yellen, who's a Treasury Secretary of this actual country, right, says U.S. default would trigger a global economic downturn. So there's a lot of fear that's being put into people, okay? If you scroll down, it kind of is basically breaking down what these three paragraphs are essentially saying. One summary is if the U.S. does not get it together with the debt ceiling, it could lead to a lot of problems. And all the work that we have done to basically make ourselves better since the pandemic is going to be waste. That's essentially what the summary of this whole article is, right? And right here it says it would risk undermining the U.S. global economic leadership and raise questions about our ability to defend our national security interest. So there's a lot that's going in here. Before I even scroll down to show you guys what the actual article is talking about, besides just the fear that's going on, let's really understand what the U.S. debt ceiling is, right? Like what this actually means. So essentially, it's the amount of debt that the country could take on. It's as simple as that. We want you guys to think of this as like a credit card limit on your credit card itself. So if you have like $20,000 as a limit, if you go above that limit, it's not good, right? You have to either get an extension, like from 20,000, you call your bank up or your credit card, you're like, yo, make it 25, or you can't actually do that. So far, so good, Rel?
For a fact.
Right? And this is where it gets interesting, guys. So the Congress is the one who kind of sets this U.S. debt ceiling, right? The Republican Party, and I'm not trying to go into politics or anything, but the Republicans are saying, yo, we're not really interested in raising the debt, okay? They don't want the debt to increase. The Democrats are saying, we actually don't really mind it. We want to see the debt increase because we have programs that we're trying to run, initiatives that we're trying to actually make sure go into fruition because we spoke about them during the pandemic that we have to see go through. And the only way they could go through, guys, is if the debt ceiling goes higher. So obviously, Rel, Democrats are on one spot, Republicans are one spot, and where does that leave the common man?
I mean, it leaves us nowhere. And like you said, Republicans, they want to stop all the spending. Democrats to continue spending and raise the debt ceiling. So I don't know who's going to win this battle, bro. I really don't.
And we're smack in the middle. So that's why there's a lot of conversation that's been happening right now. And the Republicans are saying essentially, you guys have to cut your Social Security spending, right? Like, that's not something they want to see. They want to cut the whole initiatives that they were talking about during the pandemic, like student all loans, the global warming stuff, all the greenhouse stuff that was going on. Republicans are saying, yo, cut that out.
Student loans is another one.
That's another one they wanted to cut. But the Democrats are saying, no, we can't do that. Let's just keep on kicking the can down the road. So with all of that being said, Janet Yellen is saying we have until June 1st, which is only like, 18 days away, to figure the situation out. Because according to her, the debt ceiling will be raised at that point. Other economists are saying we have until August. So now that you have this background of what this actually means, let's talk about, okay, is this actually something that we should be concerned about? So one thing before I hand it off to Rel is this is what I want you guys to see. I showed you guys the top of the article, but then over here, if you just scroll to the bottom, which most people will not do, it says right here, Congress is no stranger to raising or suspending the debt limit. This has happened where we have hit that point, but we've increased the limit around almost 80 times since 1960. I'm going to pause for a sec, bro. So clearly this has happened before. And this is a chart that kind of shows it. So no matter who is in like the Congress there, Republicans, Democrats, it has happened where you have seen this limit get extended. So we're not strangers to this, guys. Like, I know it causes a lot of fear, but you have to understand the history behind everything. So just because people are saying we're scared doesn't mean that we're not going to either kick the can down the road, doesn't mean we're not going to extend the debt, it doesn't mean that we're not going to raise the debt. So now that you've had the understanding, well, let's go into some numbers, bro. I know you want to share some charts.
Yeah, and just to be clear, like she's basically saying that if June 1st comes and we don't raise the debt ceiling, then we're in jeopardy of defaulting on our debts. Just to be super clear for everybody, and something that the US tends to do in that situation, because this happened in 2011, is they may extend it by doing things like cutting spending to buy us some time. So just picture if you guys were in this scenario where you couldn't pay your bills, what are you gonna do? You're gonna cut certain things like, maybe I should cut my gym membership, and what else? Let me cut my Netflix off so I can have enough money to pay my rent. Basically, that's kind of what they do to extend it until they come to an agreement to actually raise the debt limit so they could get a higher credit card limit, basically, right? That's how you look at it. And so now if you look at these numbers, what happens in the stock market in all of this hysteria? So, like I said, in 2011, we had this scenario where we needed them to raise the debt limit. They couldn't come to an agreement. And that turmoil, or that disagreement, or that period where they couldn't get to a decision, the S&P 500 fell 6% from May through August 11. So, I'm August 2011. My birthday is August 11th. That's how I said that. From May to August 2011. So guys, that's only a few months, and we fell 6% in the S&P. But even after the debt ceiling got raised, the index dropped another 15%, tumbling more than 20% from peak to trough from May until October. So between May and October, the S&P 500 went down 20%, bro. That's a period of 5 months. Right. And so in this scenario again, where people are starting to say, hey, this is reminiscent of 2011. And the reason this happened is because the Standard & Poor's, they come out with a credit rating for the US, right? So just like how there's credit ratings for every business and every person, there's a credit rating for the US government. And they actually got downgraded for the first time ever in 2011. That happened in August. Right after they downgraded the US government in August 2011, the next day, the Dow Jones is down about 6%. It was just the market sold off. And let me show you the visual of that. Remember, when we look at charts, guys, if the line is going up, that means that the price is raising for the S&P 500. If it goes down, it's going down, right? So as you see what happened right here, this is July, right? Look what happened in July into August. Look what happened in August now. See, we're dropping dramatically. Prices absolutely
big drop too.
Huge drop, bro. Prices absolutely plummeted, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, looking at recent price action, the technical setup looks very similar. Where we were on a uptrend, and then we started consolidating right around the time when the debt ceiling needed to be raised. That's what's been going on in recent price action. So maybe we're gonna get this same type of drop off coming really soon. Maybe potentially this summer, when they're anticipating that we may default on our debts and get drop off like this. So I would say you want to stay well positioned for that. But I do want to make the point quickly that let's not buy fear. Newski, let me know, bro, when there's a lot of fear in the air, what tends to happen in the stock market? Like, do they usually just, like, if everybody thinks we're going down, do we usually go down?
I was about to say, like, that was my biggest point that I was saying earlier. Like, to answer his question, no, right? When you're expecting, which is why you have to be able to understand the psyche behind it too. It's not just like, let me go look at the news. It's, of course, read the news, understand it, but also take it with a grain of salt. Because when everyone's expected to go down, big money understands that, which is why they will probably run this up, right? And I'm not saying they do this to like play a game or trick you or anything, but big money is not thinking about institutions aren't thinking about the small money investors, right? Like they're not. They're really trying to do their own thing, their own analysis. So just because you think it's going down, because the article I showed you, right, said like, oh my God, it's failing, Then you can read below it and say, yo, this has been extended before too. So you have to play very careful and protect yourself and hedge yourself.
Bro, and what you said is perfect. So let's think about another time this year when mass hysteria was in the air. Silicon Valley Bank. Oh my gosh, the weekend that they went under, everybody thought the country was about to go. They were like, yo, this is 2008 again. This is just like when the banks failed in 08. Everything's going down. All right, so look at this visual, y'all. This red candle, right? That is the Friday that Silicon Valley Bank got popularized. That is going through what it's going through. We opened up on Monday. We opened up, went down a little bit, and then immediately went back up. We haven't been this low since. So on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, this whole week, everybody was thinking the banks are going to just plummet the market. But little do we know that was the bottom of the market from this time period. The market has not been this low since. So when everybody thinks we're going to go down, we tend to go up. So I'm just saying stay open to both scenarios. So yes, we could see this type of drop off again. That doesn't mean we have to. Everybody's expecting it, so that doesn't mean we have to. So you want to just stay balanced, have a balanced approach to that.
Right. And then I guess, do you want to show anything else, or should I take over really quick?
I'll just show one more thing, right? We're taking on a lot of debt as a country, as we know. We're taking on so much debt that we have more debt than GDP. We're taking on more debt than we're producing, essentially, right? So as you see, in 2013, that was the first time that our debt to GDP percentage was over 100, meaning we have more debt than GDP in 2013. And ever since then, we've been steadily going up. It's like we just keep taking on more debt and more debt and more debt. And it's like really getting out of hand. And so I don't know what this means for the country going forward, but I don't think it means something too well, being the fact that we've only been over 100% over the past 10 years.
Right.
We were never over 100% until the past 10 years. So where does this leave us? You know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. So everything to summarize right there, because that chart that Rel was just showing you as it was really just showing debt to GDP and just showing the numbers. But this is something I want to show. So now you guys just heard him say that for 2011, we had a massive drop off, right? 20%. We were terrible for 5 months, yada, 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 yada. But classic new being positive, this is the thing I wanted to show you guys, that just because we were negative for those 5 months, we ended up 2.1% in 2011. The next year, we ended up 15.89% up. And we continued that. So if you got scared, you pulled away all your money because of that drop off, you would have missed all these gains, all of them. And that's just not okay, guys. So that's I'm saying that to say, yes, we most likely will face some type of downside, right? Because when the country's struggling, we're not going to go up all the time. Of course, right? It makes sense. It's logical. But that doesn't mean you take out all your money, because at the end of the day, the can will get kicked down the road most likely, because we've seen it happen so many times. It's not like a 1, 2, 3. Over 60 times this has happened. And we're not new. We're not new to taking on debt either. So when you look at the top 12 countries with the highest debt to GDP ratio, we're number 12 on that list. It's not even like we're number 1. We're number 12 on that list. So it's clear that we take on debt because think about a country like a company, right? Like a company, Rel, takes on debt because that's how a company is able to scale and grow. Like you don't have endless cash flow. So you take on debt, you pay that debt back, and then you scale. That's the same thing a country does right now. We take on debt and we grow and we produce and we develop. And that's how we became the country we are today. So that's just how we work. You're not going to tell America all of a sudden, yo, nah, chill out, bro. I need you to relax, not take on debt. All right. No. If LeBron is really going to drive into the basket, he's going to drive to the basket. If Curry's a shooter, he's going to shoot the ball. That's what they do. So at the end of the day, y'all have to relax with the fear and just understand what's actually happening.
I think it is a little dangerous for us to take on the debt at the rate that we are due to us potentially defaulting, and because it's unsustainable at a point, and that's what leads to world powers collapsing ultimately, because that's the first time it's happened. So we already see people starting to get away from our dollar as we look like we're becoming irresponsible. And if you read the list you showed, we're like the real major world power that's on there, right? We're one of the, so it's like, you know, we got to be careful for sure. But I completely agree with you when you say it's just like, don't panic. It's like, we tend to figure this out. We continue to kick the can down the road. I ain't gonna lie.
That's what I'm saying. It's not the best strategy to follow, but it's most likely going to happen. And granted, I'm not saying the U.S. will be number one again in the next 50 years. We don't know, right? Like, we made a whole episode on this talking about how the U.S. might face some turmoil. Is it looking like they are going to face some turmoil? Yes. No country's going to be able to last forever. It's a part of life. So at the end of the day, this is what we want to show and highlight to you guys, to explain what is going on with the debt to ceiling ratio, what's going on with Janet Yellen, talking about all this and everything of that sort. So hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully you like this type of video. Any comments you have, make sure you comment below. But if you're still watching, thank you. We appreciate you. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Plus hit that little notification bell because we drop
2 videos a week.
And you don't want to miss them. Hopefully you enjoyed Mother's Day weekend with your family, with your moms. And happy Mother's Day to everyone listening. But we'll catch you on Wednesday. Until then, peace.
Peace.
Soundstripe.